I know how good it is by how high I am off of it.
I never thought about it until I got all privileged and had like 7 weeds in front of my face at once, and I'm
Yeah,
constantly
no,
flipping. But then I'm
I
like,
got, I just
this
don't have
one's
those olfactory.
tastier.
Hey, what do you know? Salutations,
Oh shit,
everybody.
we're live.
How are you doing?
I'm
We're
doing good.
live.
We
It
are.
is, it is us. I am one of your hosts, Liddy Bro Flacco. To my side here is my fellow host, Holden Stefan Roy. Say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
We are the Perspectives Pod, and usually we have a guest, and usually we have guests that we're interviewing. But today we're doing a recap episode, and we're just watching some of the clips from the interviews across the last about 4 months because we did a recap episode about 3 months in, and we're about
Right.
7 months into our uh, show now. So we're gonna recap the last 4 months essentially.
Yes, I'm multitasking but listening and participating actively.
Yeah, not all
Um,
good. Holden, you go ahead. I see what you're doing. I'm looking at the Twitch.
yeah,
Bonnie's like, whoa, so weird that Holden's on the right side. Ha ha
yeah, it's
ha.
never happens often. But yeah, I'm just doing the laziest shit on my end. Instead of like reinventing the wheel, I'm like, I'm just gonna share because then I can just do this. And when like we share the screen, it'll be a little. Anyway, we'll be flipping back and forth between screen shares and logistics today. It'll be a clunkier episode than normal, is all I'm trying to say. But we are basically good to go to at some point go through clips and basically watch some old stuff and recap it and a reflection of sorts
A
of
reflection.
the past while, this whole like journey and just overall the conversations, like for like a lot of ways I honestly forget a lot of the things I've talked about. Like I remember them in conversations or moments or when stuff
Yeah,
triggers it. I don't remember offhand 90% of the shit that's like been said until it
yeah,
like it unlocks. So sometimes just sitting back and checking this shit's like I find it
it
super,
happens.
and I love the content. So I'm never like, oh, this is cringy. I'm like, yo, this is great. This is actually amazing. I'm really glad we did this.
Yeah, yo.
um,
I mean, um, I forgot what episode it was that we did the recap episode.
Basically, it was
Like
a
I
while
forget
ago,
what. Yeah, it was
like
a while ago. I don't remember if we had
March,
already done the
April
Iron
ish.
Solomon interview, the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
one.
yeah. We had done Dama for sure at that point. Maybe not the second one. Um, I don't even remember how far. To be honest, how far back it was. It was
Yeah,
definitely
that's what I'm
like
saying. I don't remember either.
Marchish, I think, that we did it.
You think?
Around that
Think?
era, because
I think
Dama was
all.
a recent
You know
episode.
what? I think I
Dama's
remember.
end of February.
No, 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 no. I know when it was. It was around the Jay Spoon episode because that was when we did
Yeah,
his
that's the end of
episode on an
February.
off day. Yep, end of February, and that's what we did. On his episode, we recorded on a Saturday or a Friday or
Yeah.
something like that. We did something weird that week where we did two
Okay.
episodes, and one of the episodes was the recap.
Yes. It was February 28th or 7th. So I'm going to say March is pretty damn close to February
Yeah,
27th.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I was just
I
saying
just
I
knew it
finally
because I
remembered.
remembered like the Dama episode's clips had like just come out or something. And I'm like, well, Dama's episode has just passed. Or we had that one clip of her from the snowstorm that had just popped off or something. So like that
Yeah,
was an easy remember. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's so weird to watch the conversation, as Bonnie's saying. It must be like different being in kind of conversation versus being an audience member, and it's super different to watch me have a conversation than it is to have the conversation. I don't have to worry about it now. After that, you're like, I said all those things, and you gotta like think about it and shit. But on that
So
note, I don't know if you have a clip that you want to watch. I'm not even like ready to go. I don't even know if somebody out there has a clip that they
I
want to.
definitely I don't have a clip in particular that I'm thinking about, but I know for a fact I would like to revisit the K Games interview at some point in this. I
Yo,
remember
we
that
can
being
just
like
like
a
start with
pretty
Kid
riveting.
then.
That was a pretty riveting interview. I think he was like a really interesting person to interview. Also, would love to revisit the direct episode because whenever we did the recap, I don't think that the direct episode was out yet. So I would super
Nah.
love to see some of those.
So if you
Um,
want to see K Gaines,
Frank Stacks was extremely
oh my
entertaining.
gosh, Frank Stacks is amazing. So yeah,
Um,
let's. I got the K
yeah.
Gaines options open now in front of me. There's how K Gaines navigated life in Brooklyn during the crack epidemic. What made K Gaines understand what it means to be a black man? K Gaines talks about the branches of the hip hop tree and why K Gaines no longer prioritizes music labels.
I would go with let's like I'm a stickler for like right. So like if I'm watching like Fast and Furious movie, right? Like and it's movie night, then like the next go-to option for me is like if we can't do another car movie, then like let's do an action movie, right? Like let's have some continuity going. And so based off of the conversation we were having on your channel before we came over and started the episode, um I think that going with the Black Man clip
I mean, that's it.
is
I'll get
it
that
would be
ready.
a good little like boom segue into my conversation earlier
Facts.
into
All right.
this.
So now comes the clunky part where I set that up as we shifted into share screen and shit. One
Yeah,
second, everybody.
yeah, take your
Um,
time. I'm
share,
here. I'm here to stretch. I'm here to
put
stretch. I don't know if you guys know this, but
share
like in
sound.
TV world or radio
That work.
world,
Do you see
this
that
happens all the
clip
time.
here?
I see it. I
Awesome,
see it on the
everyone.
Twitch too. I
Yeah.
see it, buddy. You're you're
Boom.
you're going. You're
Wanna
going.
hear
Was
it?
that you were around Jamaicans, Trinidadians, you was around Barbadians, you was around Guyanese, you was around, Bohemians, you was around Americans who
Asians.
were born in Bajans, like all you was around so many different people. I said Barbadians, my fault, but Bajans, but so many different people around that I was able to pick up on all of these different cultures. So when I went to middle school, it was more in the heart of where I lived at. And where I went to public school, like the elementary school, was a little bit further. So when I get to middle school, I'm in a place where I'm just soaking up different energies. I'm just soaking up, not even soaking up energies. That sounds weird, but I'm just soaking up different cultures. And I'm like,
Doesn't
okay,
sound
cool.
weird.
No, actually,
Actually,
the sucking up
it doesn't.
energies
That
thing, I
doesn't
was
sound
like,
weird at
no,
all. That's
I did.
exactly what
I
you
didn't
were
even
doing.
think twice. I'm like, honestly, I
Doing that.
personally fucks with your energy perception thing. I believe in the energy things. I believe we
Yes,
emit
absolutely.
energies.
I'm heavy on the energy
As I get more
lifestyle as well. So
like
go ahead.
cognizant and knowledgeable of the greater things in life, I feel like you can really detect energies you like and dislike, and you should trust that instinct in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the way that you're
Yeah,
saying that you were aware of it, so maybe you weren't aware of it back then. Maybe that's yourself today now going back then, but today and now hearing it, it makes all the sense in the world to me.
yeah. Like I would hang with certain people, and being around them, I would pick up certain things, like either just mannerisms and just how they handle themselves. And like even to this day, like sometimes people, like where I'm living at now in Bed-Stuy, and I grew up in Flatbush. When I speak to people, they address me as Dread. I'm like, "Yo, what?" But I did have a lot more hair and all that other shit. They address me as Dread, and it's because I picked up some of the accents hanging with these people. And it's just through osmosis that it would happen, and that would happen anyway. If you drop a 10-year-old kid or 5-year-old kid in the middle of Mexico, he's gonna have an accent. He might still speak English, but he's still gonna have he's gonna learn a lot of different things. If you put him in
Mm-hmm.
Montreal, he's gonna have, hey, what's going on? What guy, better, different things.
He's
So
gonna speak French.
I do think that was integral. Or speak French, one of those two, or
Mm-hmm.
patois, whatever you want to say. But I was surrounded by people like in middle school. I went to middle school that they didn't have much of a music program, but I had a principal. Her name was Sister Muhammad, and I went to Jackie Robinson. I think it was IS 390 or 320. So I think it was 320. Can't remember. And that's where I got my understanding of who I am as a black person in America, as a black man in America. I don't want to even say it like that. As a black man in America. And Sister Muhammad, she would walk around with, the garb on and everything, and she made sure that the kids that was in that school, they had the right teachers to teach them the right point of view to understand who they were as a human being in this world that we live in right now. That we're constantly talking, that not even constantly, but the one that we're talking about right now. And through that, I was able to, like, to this day, she would make us watch something like the Emmett Till story. She would make us watch like movies that about, you know, the white guy, the black guy, the Jewish guy who died in, you know, in Mississippi. It's called Mississippi Burning. And as a young kid, it scared the fuck out of me. When I look back at, like, to this day, like when I watch Mississippi Burning, it just gives me something that makes me want to go out and do something wild to protect people, to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And she made sure I was conscious and aware of who I am as a person. And at that school, I learned who I am. That's where, like, I learned how to stand on my own too. I learned how to fight for myself. And, you know, we used to have that back in the days in middle school was when we had Decepticons. We had TLR, where we had different little games. We had the low lights. We had all these different people, and I was young, still trying to, like, be down with those cats, but I was still young. I was too young, but they were robbing people, and they were, you know, doing all this other stuff. I was getting robbed at one point in time in middle school, and that's where I learned to say, you know what, nigga, I ain't never getting robbed again. I'm gonna fight back. And I had crazy cousins who was down with that life, and it was like, if you want nobody to bother you, got to step your game up. And I would step my game up, and I would learn how to, you know, do different things. So in middle school, I wasn't really, going back to your question, I really wasn't focused on music. I was trying to survive and not get robbed and get, you know, fucked up. And I was smart, and I was trying not to get, you know, labeled as a nerd, and I didn't want to get bothered by the people who was around me. So, like, back then being a nerd wasn't cool. Back then being, like, smart wasn't cool. So you had to teeter-totter in between either being a thug or either it was going to be a thug or you was going to be a nerd. I was able to walk that beautiful thin line because I had knowledge of who I was and I had the right people around me.
All right. How do I stop sharing screen?
Stop sharing. Move your thing around and near the top.
I figured it out.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. This is my bootleg management.
K Gaines was super, right? Like I love using the word, but, like, super privileged to have a teacher like that could, like I didn't have that in my elementary schools, you know. I had a lot of, like, white teachers, white passing Latin teachers. I had one teacher of color. She was brown skinned Indian woman. And I just didn't have that privilege to have, like, you know, a teacher that was, like, off curriculum. Did you know? You know?
Yeah, that's like, I got that a couple of times actually. We had this black lady teacher, and she was not afraid to let us know when things were not correct. Because, like, I remember a few times some shit happened in the news, and she would, like, come in and talk about it or whatever. But like, my high school was pretty black, as far as it was all the kids who got kicked out of other schools, or the poor kids went there just because my school was cheaper than. I don't know how they figured it out, but I had the cheapest high school in, like, my part of the city. So we had a few teachers that would, like, go outside the norm in terms of that, and we had a few people of color that were teaching at my school. I don't even think about, like, how prevalent that is or not up until this moment.
Oh no, it's very prevalent. Like there's very little black men that are allowed to be teachers in the public school systems in the United States of America, right? Like, it's not even about, like, are there or aren't there. It's about how they systematically, purposefully do this, you know, so that you don't ever look at a black man like the way that a kid who's had a black man for a teacher will look at a black man, which is like, oh, I've been educated by a black man before, you know? Nah, they would rather that not be the system in place. And for the respect level to not be there with powers that be. So that's why there's very little teachers of color, especially in New York City. That's so weird, you know, like a city that's so packed full of like, you know, like it's just unfortunate. That was dope. That was a great clip. Like I said, I really enjoyed that interview with K Gaines. Thought that was a really good one. I mean, I enjoy each one, but yeah, you see, Bonnie's in the comments. She said, I'm thinking back now, and I don't think I ever had a teacher that wasn't white except one Filipino or one Mexican. Still not a black,
that's, you know, for real.
Like
maybe it was just the school I was at, but I'd
yeah,
say
but I mean, think about what you said, right? It was one.
Fair.
It was one teacher, right?
No, it wasn't just one. I had a black lady that was Mr. Foster. Was my math teacher was black. He was a black dude for like 3 years. There was when I got to school, there's another black dude there. There was other ethnicities represented there.
But it was those two black, and then
then it was mostly white people. But I'd say a third of the staff would have been black, or colored. I don't know what the right word is. Fuck.
I mean, your people of color is what you're looking for, right? That's like the blanket term that I guess
colored is not
the
right
mainstream
term.
has decided is okay. I still don't like it. I don't like the word colored for us ever in any way. So I say people of culture, which is really kind of like a slap in the face to white people because it's like saying that they don't come from culture.
I respect that.
But you know what? I don't ever feel bad about the things that I do. Like, listen, I was taking a leadership class, right? And there was like a test that you could take that you could make it about race or ethnicity, or you could make it about sexual identity or gender identity, all these things, right? And I chose race. And pretty much it breaks down to exactly what you would think. You know, they try to see if they could see your biases in black and white, right? And at the end of my test, it came out that I'm biased towards black people. I'm naturally inclined to distrust white people and to be more trusting of black people. And so in my final exam in the thing, they asked me about that and what I would do to change any biases that I have. And I was like, well, seeing as how I live in a very white world and we all do, I don't feel like I have to change that bias. If the worst that happens is that black people get to have privilege at my company, then I don't really feel bad. I don't really give a fuck about those white people who don't get privilege at another place. You know, I don't really feel bad for the white people who have so much great things, or so that's generally how I feel about that. So yeah, I call us people of culture. But yeah, the point is you just had two black teachers, a majority of your teachers were still white. And that's by design, that's not a mistake.
I hear what you're saying. I was just more surprised at the absence of in other parts to that degree. And I'm like, man, I guess that's kind of even in a limited capacity, still a blessing to be exposed to that.
Yeah, it is.
I did find the direct clips during all of that. I forgot how direct was spelled exactly.
You're doing the thing where you do the job of the thing, of the hosting thing of the show that we're doing.
Yeah.
And you're doing two things at once. This is
absolutely. That's what we do here. I get used to it. I just assume people don't expect me to stare at the camera the whole time because it is what it is. So we have 7 direct clips apparently.
It was a great interview, man.
What is it like for direct being a part of? What is the rest of that clip title? It is a long ass title. Hold on.
Long ass.
Of history in the making. Then there's Direct gives us his tips for being an effective communicator. Why Direct knows it's important to be the first. How Direct followed Soulja Boy's online marketing tactics. How Direct saw the battle rap scene blow up and jumped on board or something. And how Direct made money by reading books. And Direct discusses the importance of a cool album cover.
I want to say one of the battle rap ones. I don't know if we want to go with the Soldier Boy or
the Soldier Boy
see
online
the battle
the
rap
Soldier
trend.
Boy one was pretty fucking lit though.
Let's do that.
Because do what Soldier Boy does is what we called the fucking episode. Or the thumbnail thing. All right, give me a second to do all the flipperonis and shares and shit. Boom, boom, boom. Clicking all the buttons. Do this one. Share with sound. Done. Hit the play button.
So the way we set it up was we started Grind Time Midwest, Grind Time West Coast, and Grind Time New York all had their first battle on the same day. Right?
That's
so we had
crazy. Wait, what?
Yeah. So if you can see it, so I'll find the flyer and send it to you. So it was like a flyer. It was like a triple flyer. It was like 3 stacked in a row.
Oh, I think I remember that flyer.
Yeah, remember it was Hollow and J Focus.
Yes,
on the flyer.
Hollow and J Focus. Yes.
Yeah. So all 3 of these events. No, it was my bad. It was New York had an event. Midwest didn't have one then. It was New York, Florida, and West Coast all had an event on the same day, and it was kind of like a secret competition to see like who would have the like best event. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing was that back then, and this is gonna fuck y'all up, right? So back then, before we had like before people really engaged in YouTube comments the way they did, like there were still comments on YouTube and World Star, but not as many as now. It wasn't like bloop bloop every second. People weren't fucking fighting to be like first under the video.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
that wasn't a thing yet.
Exactly. We used to get all our comments from the rapbattles.com forum, or we used to post MySpace bulletins.
Oh shit!
People would comment like on the MySpace bulletin. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of battle rap history that got erased because MySpace got fucked up. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
I had no idea. Honestly, the MySpace bulletins thing, you're the first person to bring it up in my life. And I don't even know what it is really. I remember, but please, yes, elaborate. Yeah, it's history,
so MySpace. So when Grind Time started, the way people are like, yo, when you start a company, you need to get the Twitter, you need to get the Instagram. You know what I'm saying? You need to get a Facebook page. It was like, yo, you have to get the MySpace page.
Right.
So we had like the MySpace Grind Time Now, and we would post all the battles on MySpace. And a lot of people in the very beginning were messaging us on MySpace. They would see us in the video, find our MySpace.
I believe it. It makes sense. MySpace was the most. It was the Facebook of the time. Everybody was on there. Like it. You talking about meeting people on YouTube. Like I said, it reminds me of hearing about. Think about all the rappers that ended up popping and coming out that they all met through MySpace. You know, like
you know what? It was another thing too. I saw the way Soldier Boy was manipulating MySpace.
Oh, can we talk about that a little bit more? Anytime we can talk about that's a good time.
So Soldier Boy, he was So I don't know. I think Soldier Boy is from Alabama. No, he's from. Is he from Mississippi or Alabama?
We can check that. I'll check that. You can keep going.
Yeah. So what he was doing is he was one of these kids that became like the most popular rapper.
The guys are saying.
Yeah.
He became the most popular rapper at his school, and then would like put all the shit on MySpace. Then he became the most popular rapper in his district with all the schools. This is the first time I noticed that like high school kids had power to get behind somebody and push them, right? So he had all these hit songs in his state, and then it started going nationwide because he started learning how to manipulate MySpace. You know what I mean? And then he's another person that was on YouTube in the beginning that I forgot to say. You know what I'm saying? Like he was doing blogs and shit like that early, making fun of people. You know what I mean? Like some of the most popular YouTube videos back then was him making fun of people and shit. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I just saw the way he went from MySpace to YouTube and what he was able to do with connecting with so many people with his brand. And I I was like, yo, when we drop these videos on YouTube, before it was World Star, we should be like, yo, we're gonna put like myspace.com/rapgrid text over the video, over every single one, and we get people to come back to the MySpace. And like that's the first time like we really thought about developing this chain of communication where people could reach us on different platforms, right? We weren't thinking of it like that. We were just like, yo, we need more hits on MySpace. You know what I'm saying? We didn't realize what we were actually doing and provide and using the YouTube as a vehicle to push everybody to our other sites. You know what I mean? And you know what else is big? There's this dude named Got Pang. If he ever sees it, shout out Got Pang.
Got Pang. Shouts to Got Pang in Toronto.
Yeah, so he just knew how to make websites back in the day, and he just hit us up, and I was like, yo, we need a website. He just became our webmaster and designed this website just because he loved grind time. You know what I mean? And we used to have a chat box at the top, and like, yo, this was before, like, you know, on Twitch now, how you can't say certain things and you can't do certain things because you can get banned. Back then, it was so hard to police a chat, and people would just be doing all type of fucking shit. So we eventually took it down because people would just put like porn in there, and like people would like spam the shit, and like they would just be like pictures of dicks, and like you couldn't click off of it and shit like that. So we had to like disable it. But that was another thing before the YouTube comments started going crazy, where we realized what like a live conversation could look like. You know what I mean? And all the battlers were in there, and it was like, man, there's so many times during grind time where we were like discovering new technology that was coming out. Like, what was that first site? It was like the first site that you could live stream on from your phone. What was the name of that shit?
Shit, I don't remember it.
I forget, but I know I
Periscope?
can testify to the fact that you're right 100%. Like everything, I mean, think about it. It might have been Tiny Chat, Patterson, Vanguard, this thing.
Yeah.
Tiny Chat.
I think it came out before Tiny Chat. It's like an actual site like Twitch where people could. It was like the first site where people who did like professional streams. Hold on, now you guys got me wanting to look this up. But anyway, they came out with an app that lets you stream from your phone, and we used to stream like half of the grind time events from this shit, and there would be tens of thousands of people in there. You know what I mean? So I was doing all these little experiments at the time, or we were doing all these little experiments, like kind of gauging the interest. We saw that there were so many fans, so it's like funny to see the way technology is now, to kind of see all that stuff realized. But like we knew it back then, you know what I mean? It was just a matter of getting access to all these platforms and apps. You know what I mean? Like if it didn't have a mobile version, we couldn't fuck with it. You know what I mean? Because that's the way the world was going, towards apps.
Yo.
All right, switching back part got a lot quicker. Man, I like that direct interview. That dude is very cool.
Yeah, wildly interesting. So much like a fountain of information.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's more like
so
the
much
impact, right? Like the fact that they were like fucking around with live streaming and testing out chat technology, or interacting with Soldier Boy before Soldier Boy was Soldier Boy. You know, like a lot of these things, or just the way creating reach, or funnels, man.
Did we end up finding the answer to that? I thought it was Tiny Chat, right?
I don't remember what it was.
I know that we used to be on tech. So like when I don't even remember. I don't know this fucking what's Moo, the Moo song girl's name?
Doja Cat.
When Doja Cat had that controversy where she was hanging out with racists online, she was doing it in Tiny Chat. And I just remember like being like, what? Also not surprised because we used to be on Tiny Chat heavy. I'm talking about 24 hours a day. People were in like a grind time room that was like just the designated room on Tiny Chat for like the fans and the grind time battle rappers to get on. and there were people who would spend like 24 hours in a room. Like it was kind of like, you know, what Zoom became like back then. Um and we used to be on Tiny Chat heavy, and there was a lot of racism that happened on that website. So I was super not surprised to hear that.
No, I
So
mean
I think
that's
that the
fair.
site that he was talking about was Tiny Chat. But yeah, we were like the first ones doing that. Like I constantly take my credit and I don't allow anybody to steal it from me. Um, it's a conversation that I want to have with Organic when we like talk to him, because I saw him in an interview recently trying to give credit to like the first pay-per-view to something else. And I'm like, no, sir. No. That's not
Oh
like
boy.
that. No. There's we Grind Time East Coast, we invented pay-per-view events online for battle rap. There was nobody doing that before us. I had a friend and I was connected to him, and he had a friend that was starting a streaming company before streaming was like even like that online. And we're talking about like 2010. And we threw the first ever battle rap pay-per-view before Smack. And now that's like, that was kind of the model until they got these contracts with Twitch and Caffeine. And now even pay-per-views kind of fell by the wayside. But I can imagine that they'll still like make that like a big thing, like separate. But yeah,
I would
there's a
love
lot
to
of
get
things that
into
battle
that.
rap super originate, like, and was doing. I'll tell you this, I was even talking about this online the other day because I saw that there was battles happening, and I was just like, man, like a dumbass. I said it, and I totally forgot that I knew somebody. I was like, man, I really wish there was a place that I could place a bet on the battles coming up. Like a legit place, like a place that I could confidently like put my money on, like a gambling thing. And people were like, yeah, man, that'd be really good for hip hop. And I'm like, shit, I totally forgot. But like my friend Villain, he had a friend that he had that was starting the like battle rap gambling app, but it was just too much. It was a logistical nightmare. You can't get leagues to participate, especially not back then when he was trying it. This is like maybe 2015, I think. Um, you just can't get battle rap leagues to participate in that type of thing. But like it's definitely something that like should exist. And it's like it's crazy that even in failing to get it to happen, battle rap is again like being very forward thinking and at the cutting edge of like, you know, um like things online and like ways to like engage that other people are just not thinking about. And it's because there's a real community in battle rap. Like it's a real huge online community and people want to engage with each other and in different ways. And that's one of the ways that like fans have always expressed that they want to engage with each other, like to be able to bet on battles. And like, but it's just also like people are, you'll never be able to get people to agree to outcomes. And because it's art, it's always like up for interpretation, you know? It's just like people's interpretation.
Well, I suppose you could do it on judged battles, and then part of your gambling would be which
Yeah,
way the
now,
judge is gonna go,
yeah,
right?
now,
Because that would be
when it
part of
was
it.
when that app like guy was trying to develop it, it was literally in the middle of like only Smack and KOTD existing like that. And like neither of them were doing judge battles at the time. So it was just like,
Mhm.
wow. I mean, KOTD was still doing their yearly champ, you know, the KOTD champ, but like that was it. It was one battle a year that was like judged. Everything else was just like what it was supposed to be, which is like leave it up for interpretation because you don't want to upset the fans.
Mm, that's fair. All right, I got Frank Stacks clips over here. Um, We have how Frank Stacks recorded a music video at Burning Man. How Frank Stacks providing gear created a legacy. Being himself off the top won Frank Stacks battles. That time Frank Stacks made battle parody. And how Frank Stacks almost got Dirt Nasty canceled.
The third to last one.
The being himself off the top.
Being himself off the top. Yep.
All right, we're gonna do that one. Give me a second to get this all loaded.
I feel like we should leave it up to the people for one of these. I'm over here just answering, just like being.
Yeah, maybe
Such an extrovert.
Folk, if you want to know, you can check out on the Clips channels, and you can let us know once we figure out who the next person will be. But yeah, give me a second to move everything around here right quick. Boom, boom. Open. Share screen. I hit play prematurely. Did that. It's shared.
But it was when I did do it, I was good at it and it was cool. I just didn't do a lot of it. And then when they did the first Grind Time West Coast event, Lush One hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I need you to come do this battle." He's like, "It's like on camera. I'm gonna send you a link so you can see. It's kind of like the WRCs." And I'm like, "Nah, dude, I don't really do that shit no more. Like, I'm not trying to do this shit. I'm making this music. You know, I was working on the Rap As a Joke album at the time, and like, I didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to do it at all." And he was like, "Well, your boy Kodiak is gonna do it, and he's gonna battle this dude, and I want you to battle his buddy, this other guy, whoever the fuck it was." And I'm just like, "I don't want to do it, bro. Like, I literally don't want to do it." And I remember one time, I don't remember what happened, but like I was going through some shit, and Lush called me again. And I remember I was driving my car in the rain and I was fucking hammered or some
Lush called me again.
And he was like, "Dude, I need you to fucking do this battle." Like he needed to fill a spot and he wanted me to be that spot to represent for Grind Time West Coast. Like hella bad. I just didn't want to do it. And I finally said, "All right, fuck it, I'll do it." But I still don't want to do it. And then I find out that you gotta write the battle. Now I'm hella mad. I'm hella fucking mad, bro. I'm like, you want me to fucking write ahead of time for another dude and fucking rap about him?
And fucking rap about him?
I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And then like he showed me some links.
That right there is that classic Frank Stacks delivery right there.
Like I couldn't believe. And then Kodiak, honestly, Kodiak was like, look, and obviously like in terms of rap in general, like I felt like I'm already like light years beyond these dudes. But when it comes to that type of environment, I just didn't want to fucking do it. I wasn't comfortable doing it. And Kodiak's like, "Look, we're gonna go to the studio, and I'm gonna force you to come to the studio with me, and we're gonna practice." I'm like, "What do you mean? We're gonna practice rap? Like, we're gonna practice?" Like, I'm so mad, bro. Like I'm so like it's not like the fact that it's not freestyle. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna freestyle, and they're like, "There's no beat," and I'm like, "Wow, you guys signed me up for this shit." Like,
that's such a real rapper thing from back then.
There's
wow,
no beat.
This is what we're doing now. Huh?
Yeah, there's no beat. You got to write the shit. There's no microphone in your hand. You're just fucking rapping. So how awkward is that? Like now I got nothing to do with my fucking hand. You know what I'm saying? I just like what the fuck, bro. Like
so funny.
Oh my god, dude. So I still didn't write the shit. Funny. I still didn't write the shit. But after I knew I had to do this battle in a couple weeks, and I seen the dude I had to write for. So of course I think of some shit. But then like the day before the fucking battle, or 2 days before the battle, the dude dropped out the battle. So he got replaced with one of his homies or some shit, which happened to be S-Rock. And let's just telling me, he's like, "Yo, dude, all these guys are writing. They're all fucking writing their shit." But then I talked to Dirtbag Dan, and he's like, I'm Dirtbag Dan, bro. I'm not gonna write. I don't write. I'm gonna go in there and I'm a freestyle. So I'm like, yeah, fuck these fools. Let's fucking freestyle, Dan. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck these fucking weird motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So let's go in there and freestyle, dude. And Dan went first, and he had the easiest fucking opponent ever in the planet. Is Dirtbag Dan. Like he could have farted on him and would have won. Like the dude sucked so bad. I had already thought of some shit that I wanted to say to the other dude that I kind of wanted to use, but then I had to freestyle, and since I didn't really write it, I don't know how long the rounds are. It was the most awkward shit, but it came across on camera incredibly well as like, you know, I just demolished this fucking guy, and everybody like, who the fuck is this dude Frank Stacks? And they sent it to D-Rec and Matt Ills and all them back then. Like they just started sending the video out, and everybody started hitting me up like, "Yo, you got to do another one of these. Like this is fucking incredible." And I'm like, man, dude, like,
how do they want to do this?
Like doing the one I just did. You know what I'm saying?
Frank is like, what do you mean?
I'm like, you know how much time I just spent not preparing to prepare? You know what I'm saying? Like even that was annoying me. You know what I'm saying? And but then the video dropped on YouTube, and it got the most views I ever got on anything in like one day ever. Right at that point, like just 2008, and it was just crazy, like how well it come across on camera. Because as much as you got you got nerves and shit or anxiety when you're actually doing it in the moment, you're not thinking about what you're saying or if it's like having the impact or you like don't even hear people screaming and hollering and laughing and everything. But then you see the video. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm good at this shit. You know what I'm kind of good at this shit. The comments like me. They like me in the comments. There's no haters for me in the comments. That's a new thing. So,
fuck me.
But then, of course, I'm like, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. Again, here we are.
Yeah, I mean,
this is hilarious though. I don't often laugh. You got me laughing.
Yeah.
Should have had you laughing more, but you were giving me some serious questions, bro. So I had a straight face laced. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, just bro, I don't even laugh a lot. You can ask Flacco. I barely
laugh.
That's
fucking hilarious because I remember, and I can understand because I felt the same way. Like I remember when International Pete told me never to come in there freestyling again. And I had the cameraman laughing, bro. The cameraman laughing, shaking the fucking camera, laughing. And I'm like, you're going to tell me who just made your cameraman laugh when freestyling to never come in here freestyling again? And that I have to write my shit and sound like all these other generic people? Like, what? It makes no sense. Like, yeah. So I understand.
That was like the evolution of battle rap, not only for battle rap, but for me and a lot of other rappers, because you were forced into this new, this new era of this is how we do things now. And you don't get a fucking choice, because if you come unprepared and that dude is prepared, you're going to look like a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as good as like, I still think to this day, like if I'm out somewhere and motherfucker, if I'm vibing and I'm freestyling, I'm going to fucking cook it. But it's still kind of hard for me to sit down and write some shit. That's why I haven't done a lot of battles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like putting all that energy into, like, I still like making music. I'm still releasing music, but I just could never put that much energy into, as much as I could be funny off the top. Like for example, I did stand up one time. Oh my God, it was the worst. It was the fucking worst, because you got to write jokes now. You gotta write motherfucker. It's the same type of shit. My boy forced me to do it. He's like, you're the funniest dude I know. You just gotta do it. They're doing an open mic. You like 7 minutes. And I'm like writing jokes. I'm like, this is the fucking lamest shit ever. Because now I'm like trying to make up something that's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to come up with a joke to tell to make people laugh instead of just being myself. I'm being funny. So like I could sit up there and talk about the audience all night and clown those motherfuckers, and that would be better than the stand-up that I did. I was talking about all kinds of stupid shit. They actually took me, they said, okay, your time's up, bro. When I was on the stage. You know what I mean? Like your time's up. And I'm like, I'm like dressed the same way as I am right now on stage in a fucking comedy club, trying to do comedy. But it's better when it's just off the top, dude. And that is also how I feel about when I make music now too. Like if I sit there and try to write a song, like, and force it don't come out good. But if I throw on a beat and hit record like I did when I was in the motherfucking car, when I was 16 years old, and just start freestyling the first time I hear that beat, whatever fucking cadence and rhythms and shit that I got are going to be so fucking dope that I can take that recording and then listen back to it and be like, oh, that's how the song's supposed to go. So I'm going to make a song like this. So now for the past like 5 or 6 years, anytime I want to write a song or anytime I want to create something, I don't even have a pen. I just hit record. And whatever the fuck comes off the top of my head, then I'll just kind of edit it up. You know what I'm saying? And
I use my iPhone and I just use my voice notes on my iPhone.
It's the best.
And that's it. Like if it's not, if if it doesn't hit me and start hitting me immediately, then just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Maybe see if somebody else that I'm fucking with,
Boom.
Oh, Frank Stacks had you dying, bro.
Yeah, he's fucking serious. He like sent
Yeah, I
me the
never
stack.
heard you laugh that much in an
I don't
interview
think
ever.
I don't think that many people spit facts the way Frank Stacks does. That guy is like
Yeah, he's got a great
astute.
timing. Like he's got a funny, and he
It's more than the
wants you to
timing,
laugh.
right? Like it's what he's saying. What I find really funny is when people are able to spit like the harshest facts ever in a blunt way. I'll find that shit hilarious. I don't know why. Maybe it's because nobody does it. But Frank is just like chopping up rappers left, right, and center on like an ideological level. He's made like the whole rap is a joke thing is fucking amazing to me. Everything about that guy's like philosophy I fucks with. So like it's just he's speaking my language. And I don't know. He sent me his album. It's fucking good. I enjoyed the
Yeah, I
Stack
mean,
of Love project.
I wasn't knocking it, you know.
Nah, but I just
Same
like
as in that clip, like like it's one of those things. Like, yo, uh, yeah,
he's hilarious
nobody's as funny as him.
in a way that's like
Nobody's been as funny as him in interviews.
nah. Like sometimes I meet people and they want me to laugh real hard, and I'm like,
Different.
I don't.
Yeah, my fault.
Well, it's like I don't know how to explain it, but like certain things I will make me like laugh out loud, like laugh. Unless you happen to fall into that level of things, it's super hard for me to like laugh and not sound fucking weird or fake or like Bonnie will make fun of me. You're fake laughing. And even if I'm not fake laughing, it just doesn't sound right. Like I'm just trying to express the laughter and it comes out wrong or something.
What, like
Like,
she would even say that about the laugh that you had on that episode?
no, that Frank Stack shit was amazing. My cackle laugh is authentic. I did it in
What?
real life, and then I did it in the video right after it, and I'm like, damn, man, I laughed the same way twice to the same moment. I thought that was funny, but yeah, nah, I don't know. I'm trying to laugh more ever since that first Iron Solomon interview, and I didn't smile for 2 hours, and I'm like, oof, that's probably not the best way to approach life to never smile on camera. So I've actively worked on my smiling and laughing
Yeah, I'm
skills
constantly
since then.
smiling. So,
But yeah, I don't know who you wanted to see after that. We ran through your original.
yo, you know who was a great interview too? Gab. Gifted Gab. Limey too.
Now we gotta go to the other channel. But
we interviewed Sarah Connor.
we did that as well.
Hope Fendi. I mean,
yeah,
we had some powerful women come through. You know what I mean?
All right, so here's what I'm gonna do, audience, so you can feel interaction. I linked the damn channel, and y'all can go tell me if any of these clips look appealing to you, and then we'll go with the ones that you want to watch next, folk.
What do you want to watch?
Me?
Let us know. Not you.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, we just told them.
Yeah. I'm talking to them. What do you want? Oh, wait. I should go to like folks that
this is where somebody has to like.
All right, not on Facebook.
Oh, Bonnie picked one, so we'll go with that one.
Yeah, might be well.
All right. Let me get that share screen set up.
Get it cracking, ho ho.
I'm working on it.
God damn it.
Chance that we wouldn't actually be having this conversation.
Yeah.
So shout out.
Yeah, no, you appreciate
Wow,
the
so
things
that's
that-
interesting. Hold on, that's
Yeah,
interesting for
it's
me.
really
Can I ask you a
interesting.
question now? Can I ask you a
Of
question?
course.
See, yo, this
Okay,
is what
cool.
happens with
Cool, this
with
is
people
great.
from this
So look.
life. When we get a hold of
So-
somebody who's not of it, it's like, oh, hold on.
Right.
Now I
So-
want to hear your opinion on things.
So for you,
You're a rare gem to us.
So for you per se, the movie Battled is what led you
Bodied.
to. You hear me? Battled. Oh my God! How many blunts have we smoked? So for you, for I would say your generation, but for you per se,
For me
the
personally,
movie Bodied. Yeah, for you personally, the movie Bodied is what led you to look into battle.
so what it did was it answered questions I had because that protagonist in that movie, I had to review it on a
I hate the
Patreon
word
request.
protagonist.
So like I
Yes.
like on a Patreon request, I had to review it. So it's like hour and a half video of me and my girlfriend talking about this. But really, I took notes and everything. It's like, so I used to be that guy, like down to the point where like I would look for excuses to like try to technically maybe drop an M-bomb here and there at like 23, being some edgelord type shit, right? So I'm watching this guy who I swear is me when I start rapping. All this shit, like all of it, trying to get girl, all of it, down to the way he betrays the man. But really, in the middle of that, I'm watching like the XO's X Ho, and it popped up, and I'm like, oh, and it was like real visual and shit. But that stuck with me. And then like I caught like the disaster getting punched part, like that was a cool pun or whatever for like visual thing. But also it's shit like seeing Riff Raff and Andy Milonakis, or I can't say his name right for the life of me.
Andy Milonakis.
Milonakis.
I just, you know what? I like this guy so much, and I can't do it. I just fucking fumble every time. But like I seen Dirt Nasty. No, it was Dirt Nasty's there, or like Charlemagne the God crushed it too. So it had all these people in it that like I was already familiar with. That was cool. But it was just the way that it kind of showed in like the most marketing stereotype way possible a lot of the dynamics. But then it also was like, yo, people rap about guns out of respect. Because like, why are we gonna talk about our personal lives like that? You really want to ruin each other's? Nah, let us talk about my gun so big. And I'm like, oh, that's why my gun so big bars exists. And then you start like really like getting this like translation where it's like, yo, like people finding out this guy is like a video game guy, like that has like an impact. He's trying to protect his family and his shit. How are you gonna make bars? And then you watch him make these choices and you're like, yo, that's just dirty to see. And it really like, so now when you're like circling back to we all gonna jump you violence, it's like, yo, I guess it's like more like Mortal Kombat than it is like anything else. But it's actually like, yo, they could do real damage. And then I'm like, yo, I'm glad I never battle rapped. I would have done some dumb shit and gotten like hurt.
So I'm glad you said that, because for me, depending on what generation you're in, determines on what side of this battle rap culture you came into, right? So for a lot of people, right, for a lot of us, we came from the culture that we were watching the Smack DVDs, or we were watching the Sub-Zeros, and we were watching like the what else we were watching? Oh my God, we were watching so fucking much. I can't remember everything, but we were watching these, and it was at a time where, like you said, you came into it where you watched this movie called Body, and it introduced you to it. Everybody has a different story of how they ended up stumbling upon into battle rap, right?
Yo, Sarah,
yeah, what's up?
I think there's a very thing to do in your interview and shit. Say hi, Paulie.
What's going on,
Hi,
Sarah?
Wally.
I just wanna say Happy Mother's Day to you, because
Thank you,
how we were talking about the other day, you're definitely one of the mothers. You're definitely, without a doubt, one of the mothers of hip hop. You get what I'm saying? Especially from what I know, so what I grew up on. So, you know what I mean? Shouts to you and Happy Mother's Day for that,
Thank you, my love. Love you. And give the girls a kiss for me. I like that shirt, by the way.
Shit's fly, right?
Yep. Sorry, guys.
Nah, where'd he go?
Okay.
Minute 20.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry about that.
But yeah, so like I was saying, that transition is different for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And battle rap right now it's in need of a certain structure, and that structure is this history that you're getting. There's not a lot of people that understand the history, right? Yeah, we know Smack, right? But how many of you can say that you actually saw the DVDs or you went to YouTube to see what the DVD used to look like? There's a difference between you watching Smack on YouTube versus the people that actually bought the DVDs
even
at
more
the time,
like
right?
you guys grew up in an environment where literally you would go hood to hood and battle, and that's like your come up. I grew up in an era where I started music in 2012, so I'm just copping beats and making music and going to a studio, and it's all like affordable. And I never even
And you're right about that. Go into the Bronx. I went to Patterson, New Jersey one time to battle a dude named Dice who was fire, but you know, it's just everybody got their hood, they rep their hood. So you was going just to see, you know, it's the same story you get from Biggie. Biggie was in his hood and he was going to other hoods to battle. You know what I'm saying? And it was like
you go to your neighboring neighborhoods in New York City. You go to you walk a few blocks and you're in somebody else's neighborhood. So like you would do that, you know, but that was also really dangerous. Like I'd look back at like what we were doing and I'm like, yo, we was bugging. Like we would
which segues into what we were doing. I feel like that once we had the opportunity with Grind Time, and see, my experience into Grind Time was I didn't know about it. We were watching it. We were watching stuff in Dutch's house. I think one of the first battles we ever saw that introduced us to the Grind Time brand, and shout out to Lush, and shout out to Direct, and shout out to Matt Ills, and rest in peace to my brother Pumpkinhead. We were watching Tantrum versus what's his name? Dumbfounded. We were watching Tantrum versus Dumbfounded, and then we watched, I believe, Conceited versus Tall T. Rest in peace, Tall T. And it was around the time where Pumpkinhead was getting down with Grind Time, and we got. I think I was in your house when he called us. I think I was in Dutch's house when I got the call.
Yeah.
And PH was about to do a chapter in Grind Time, New York. They had one, but you know, we won't get into the big discussion of that. And if you guys spoke to Frankie Waps or something like that, you might get this.
Frank Stacks, not Frank Waps.
Okay. All right. Well, it's different. There's a story behind it. But,
I'm only talking to the important people, B. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing all that.
So once Pumpkinhead took over, it was kind of like, yo, we stood together. And he said it. He said, I need you to do a battle. We found a female for you. I need you to do the battle. I didn't want to do it. At first, I was like, I'm tired. It's been mad years at this point for me. It may not be mad years for everybody else because now the internet is different. But for me, it was like, oh, now, nigga, like, it's already mad years. But I knew, and I think it was funny because we were having this conversation. I knew I needed to do it. I had to do it because I didn't want to do it, but I knew somebody had to do something. Somebody had to do something to get the ball rolling. And I was like, whether they like me or not, the way battle rap is if you beat the top person, you get on, right? So at the time I was considered the top person. Nobody understood why, because they didn't have footage to go by, because at the time, Fight Club was defunct and didn't release any other footage other than what they had done.
Did you tell Holden about like how you used to body like the dudes that they did put in front? Like how many dudes
no, we
you
did
bodied?
Not talk about all the dudes you bodied, Sarah. Kind of talk about the dudes you bodied. Talk about it. Tell them.
So, all right. So he tells it so much better. So yeah, I was in Fight Club, and unfortunately they couldn't find girls. And the second time around when I returned to Fight Club, it was still the same thing. There wasn't really a lot of girls. So what happened was, shout out to Von Dutch and shout out to International P and J. At the time, there was a gentleman named Jay who was running Fight Club or whatever. And shout out to them because they stood behind me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they were just like, yo, they're not fucking with Sarah. right? And there was one point where Von Dutch was just kind of like, yo, keep coming back every Friday. Just keep coming back. Just keep coming back. And at some point it started to happen to keep my sword sharp, because Monday would come and it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or that's what they would tell me. You know what I'm saying? So to say. So when people were coming to try out for Fight Club, it got to a point where I was the person that you tried out against at some point in Fight Club. So and this was around the time when Iron was at the top of Fight Club, where Iron was like the shit. And if you battled him, it means you were like, oh, you got there, right? So now Iron's coming in with his lunch and he sees me. I know Iron from end of the week, right? I know he battled, but I knew Iron from end of the week more or less, right? That's my end of the week brother. So when he come in, he see the line full of guys. Shout out to my Grib, who was a part of that. Shout out to a dude named 40 from Jersey. He was a part. I bodied him. Ooh, I did him greasy. And it was a whole line, right?
There we go.
Like it was a whole line, and then it got to a point where like they got, Iron Solomon walks in, so they're like, oh shit, it's Iron. And when Iron walks in, the first words out his mouth was, the person you have to be careful with is her. Mm-hmm. But he tells the whole line, this is the person you have to be careful with, right? So of course, being a female and a level of testosterone that's through the roof, of course, with hip hop, there were some dudes that were like, okay. And then you had the dudes that was like, she ain't doing shit, man. This ain't, bitch gonna kill me. And it got to a point where like that same dude that was talking shit finally got to see me. And it was great because for me, it was like, I looked at Dutch, I was like, I'm gonna embarrass the fuck out of this. But at that time, I was probably the only person that knew how to flip the whole narrative of the gay, lesbian, you're gay, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this. There was really nobody flipping that but Goddess in the Midwest at the time. So when he got in front of me, he was coming at me with all kinds of insults. Like, Dyke, go watch this shit. Go do this. Dyke. I think I heard like 50 dykes in his brown. I don't even remember, but I just remember looking at Dutch and I was like, yo, if he says this shit one more time, and he said it again. And I was like, oh my God, like how many times he's gonna call me a dyke in one bar? And then it came to my turn and I just looked at him and it was just like, I was hyped. Like, and then Dutch was trying to tell me to calm down. Everybody was like, just relax, take your time. Cause I had a habit back then too of getting too hyped, as you can see with the Goddess versus Saragata battle. But I just went at him. I remember because I looked at him and I said, yo, this dude keep calling me a dyke. Well, you absolutely right. And since you pussy, I guess I'll be eating you tonight. And then everybody was like, ah, like I just remember the reaction in the room was just so crazy. Yeah. And then I just started hitting him. And I remember just leaving my last bar because it was still time. And it was like 90 seconds back then. And like you had to stick to the time. And I just remember right before it came to that time, I started calling him Flavor, and I had everybody dying. And shit, KM was there actually too. Shout out to my brother Young.
That was KM.
I don't know who KM is.
What?
But yeah, that was fun. She has such a powerful energy.
Yeah, Sarah, man.
And but it's also just the idea of having like this whole underground part of the culture that nobody ever really sees. It's like the behind the scenes of the WWE or the shit that like really happens that nobody ever really talks about, right?
Yeah.
And all this time later, you're like thinking about it. And I find that like one of the things that I think has been the most profound doing all of these interviews, especially with all the New York folk, has been like how little a lot of people actually absorbed back in the day based on their limited cultural exposure. It's like people got like a snapshot version of hip hop culture that almost feels like told through TV.
Yeah.
Unless they were one of the people that went there, because people who went to New York were on the up and up. Every one of them said the same shit. I came back and I was the plug. I had that shit before it became. I knew it was always the same story when people came down here. So like when you think about a battle rap or whatever, you got a bunch of people trying to put together a thing, and they basically are like in a situation where they see the battles on YouTube, but they don't see the hotel room part. They don't see the behind the scenes, the scrambling, the logistics, the everything that's going on. So a lot of opinions and ideas get formulated based off of like this like perception of the whole situation. Then that becomes canonized as like the lore that gets preached on the internet by those who don't fully know. But then that becomes so popular that barely anybody really knows what happened once upon a time anymore. And that's what I've seen happen a lot of in almost all of these topics.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And
it gets hard to remember. That's why. You know, it's a lot of stuff.
Especially when like so few people knew in the first place a lot of this stuff, because it wasn't like it was cool to talk about all the inner workings of things back in the day. You know, that would have been like, you know, remember, like they were like, you weren't supposed to know the location of the place, if I'm not mistaken. It was like a secret. You weren't supposed to know.
Well, it depends. Fight Club, yes. When we were doing grind time, not right. It was, but and then again, some URL events were like in secret, and a lot of them are not. But once,
yeah, like you just never see what happens behind the scenes of shit. So I always think that part's super fucking interesting. I know Bonnie put another link down. I don't know if you have any preferences towards any of them.
No, go ahead. She had another link. Go ahead with that one.
Right, give me a second to go flip that around and shit. Boom, boom. So like as you're going through it, is it like, how is it being a woman in battle rap? Like, I mean, you're saying a lot of firsts and a lot of first all-female cards, and the way you're saying it makes it sound like these are like bigger and significant things. And the more I think about it, the more I don't see a lot of women as I go through the older YouTube videos. Like, is it like a lack of opportunity or talent or something? Like, I'm not really sure what it is, because it seems like I watch you go and you're just fucking ill with it. Like, you're as ill as anybody else I watch.
It's definitely a lot. Like, because at one point, female battle rap was on the back burner for quite some time, and there were only a few reputable women that were being mentioned within this realm of battle rap, you know, that, or at least had the following to say, hey, this person can battle someone outside of, you know, female battle rap and actually battle the guys and win and so on and so forth. It wasn't until like we started getting more girls where you started to see more of a roster on the female side. Instead of just 7 common names, you get like 25 now. And it's even building even more because we have a few more cards coming up where it's debuting more female talent. And it's really dope to even see the evolution within that. To see Miss Hustle go from, you know, battling Eve Hart to battling people like Lady Luck, like that's elevation within itself, even within those vets, you know. So it's just dope to contribute and partake and also bear witness to all of it at the same time.
No, that is super dope. I mean, like, I'm excited at the idea that like this evolution happening as more and more people seem to be getting interested in it, and then as more people basically get the representation within the culture, it creates the accessibility, more role models to base yourself off of, more people to come in with the styles. Like, I mean, I just think
more options.
Cool.
It's the same thing that Fendi was saying about like all the styles of battle rapping that you can have, right? And how it's kind of like poetry, you know, and essentially that's the same thing with women in battle rap. It's the same thing that we talk about with like seeing people of culture in like TV and media, you know, and in movies, where it's just like representation really does matter, you know, like you're like you're not gonna put out one movie with a Black female lead and all young Black women are gonna feel a connection and bond with her. Like you need multiple. and a whole rainbow of personalities to like be able to find who it is that speaks to your soul, you know. And so like that's exactly, and it's crazy because it is like essentially new, right? Like Smack is just starting to do men and versus women on his card. That just happened for the first time last year, right?
Just
So
about like, but there was moments where they just made sure that whenever they did do intergender battles, it was with rappers that they knew would make it work. Like the first intergender 2-on-2 with Bonnie and 40 and K-Shine and DNA, especially with DNA and K-Shine already making their name, you know, with them being the 2-on-2 team that they are, and just battling other teams as well. And then seeing that on the female spectrum with 40 Bar, somebody who's like literally being like best as far as pen wise in female battle rap, and Bonnie, somebody who's a really seasoned vet, pair up to kind of bring forth like really, really good content in a great battle that went viral, and then a whole bunch of stuff. Like it's really dope to know that even like you can even go as far as saying Hustle and Old Red is like literally like the beginning chapters of that too. Like at one point, intergender battles were really frowned upon, and that's like all you constantly see now, because there's a lot of girls who really can rap, and why not, you know, display that against the ones that can rap that happen to be men?
Yeah, I think it's dope.
Absolutely.
Like personally, I just think it's like,
super.
And it's a different dynamic too, because it forces guys to have to be different with it. I mean, like they can't just come and act the same. Like you're like doing mom shit. I don't mean it like that, but you definitely have mom bars in the middle of that shit. Like, how are you supposed to come at somebody who's dropping like, "Yo, I'm a mom, I'll fuck you up"? Like, that's a whole different energy. So if you're coming at that energy now, you gotta like step. Yeah. I thought about that. All I can say is lots of dudes is not down to promote lady rappers up on their shit. That's a fact of what I've seen in the media, man. So it's like the answer to the question of why is there such a lack of representation? I could tell you is one thing. I've seen a whole bunch of dudes say some shit like, it's not to say that women can't rap, but I just prefer it when guys. And I'm like, why? Why do you prefer it when men rap? Like, like
there's
a style.
There's a vast. I have a good. I would say venture to say maybe even half of my friends like feel that way. And I'm just like, I always look at them like, really, bro? Like, I'm like, yo, I did not think that you were like sexist until now. Like, what the fuck, bro? That is fucking weird.
And I would see it like not just in like people I know, but like in like YouTubers and a bunch of shit. And you're like, hold up, maybe the women have a point, and they're not being talked about in some like coordinated effort, not necessarily like a conscious effort, but more like it's cool to pretend that there aren't dope women in this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as people start listing off their top 10, their top 5, or leaving women out.
Yeah, no, it's like it's impossible.
All right.
And then it's like they point at Iggy Azalea or some shit. Sorry, buddy, but they point at Iggy Azalea like she's a representation of shit. I'm like, what? No matter what you're thinking, like Rhapsody got a Grammy nomination. You can't even not mention Rhapsody's name, or you know, like in any conversation. That's like credible.
Yeah, nah.
Like,
I mean,
that's anyway. That's just one style. And that's just one. And I picked it on purpose because it's like she kind of bodies people in that lane, and like other.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I delved into it. Like
there've been wild women throughout the years that are like better than most men, better than all men, actually. You know, at the time, like Lauryn Hill comes to mind. Like she was really like I think guys were afraid of having her on the track. Like she was destroying people. Nicki Minaj still, you know, like her pen game, for as much as I might not agree with her as a person, the way she moves and things she does, I know that her pen game is like pretty unmatched, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I think people like to pretend like she can't rap, but she's really versatile. She's got a lot of styles.
Yeah, she does. Like, I would say she's better than Kendrick Lamar, but then people get really upset at me, but like, whatever. You know?
I think Kendrick Lamar is really good at like high concept art. So like, yo, his albums are
I don't
like
even think that.
spectacular. I mean,
But
I think his albums are really good art pieces in the way that they're put together.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, I think
I
that
don't know
they're
how many of his singles slap that much to me. Like I like listening to his album as like a body of work.
body of work. Yeah, yeah.
And then there's a couple of Kendrick songs I think I'm gonna just like throw on, but I found myself never in a mood to be like, I gotta listen to Kendrick. And it's not like it's bad, but it's like all of his albums have like very particular vibes to it, and very few of these singles feel like singles.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like Nicki Minaj can do a lot, and maybe she isn't making albums that you can play frontwards and backwards. That's fair. You could say that, but I certainly do like a lot of her music, and I can play it on repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what clip to go with next.
Let's go to Oblind.
Right. All right. Where is she in the list? Oh fuck! I don't think I have clips from her episode. I just have the full episode. I don't remember why there's no clips, but there's no clips, I think, for that one.
You sent them to me. You know what? Let's see if I can check that out, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. See if I can't do this real quick. 1 second. All right. We're going to. There we go. We're going to go blind.
It's a good like picture you have there. It just says dreams don't work unless you do. Good morning. Everybody needs that lesson, even if it's 8:16 p.m.
Word, yeah. Big facts. Let's see if this works. How about?
Ooh, we're sharing screens. Oh, it's so appealing to watch stuff fly around. So far, we're in working mode. I like this.
Yeah. And you know, by the way, though, like it's not like you don't gotta feel no, you know, like shame. You didn't run away, you know, like I think that it was in transitional stages and going into different directions, and grind time was ending, and I don't think that necessarily Queen of the Ring was in a position to maybe pay you what you deserved at the time necessarily, and that's okay too, like that. It's like you did what you did, and like it's not like you like have ever shunned battle rap, or like not talk, tell people I don't want to talk about that, like, oh no, we don't. Nah, you don't hide from it. So that's it. Like the more success that you find as an artist is the more light that you like. It's like an addition, same as all the people that like go on Wild 'N Out, or like the people that do, something else from battle rap. Like everybody adds and they bring back, like, because then your fans, there's gonna be a fan that's gonna be so hardcore that they're gonna go into Oblimey's past and be like, what is this? And they're gonna watch it, and then they're gonna like turn into Holden eventually, right? Where they're just like, I actually like this, I get this now, and they're gonna be into it, and then they're gonna form their
your
own
shit aged
love
well,
of who, like.
Can I just say
Yeah,
that
you
though,
did.
right quick? Your battles aged real well. Yeah, some of these battles don't age well.
I have a hard time watching them. I gotta be honest with you, but I do every once in a while just to remind myself I am that bitch. But thank you, Holden. Flacko, when you said that you didn't shun battle rap, at the time when I quit, I did, and that's why I changed my name to Blimes. Although, like, who was I kidding? How hard is Oblimey to find from Blimes, right? But I changed my name to Blimes Brixton. I changed my name eventually just to Blimes because I was like, I don't want people to see this. I don't want people to know me for this. I want to make music, and I don't want the stigma of being a battle rapper and saying the things that I've said on record, you know, to follow me around. And so I started over. I started fresh. And what I didn't know about starting fresh is that it was really fucking hard to start fresh, because when I started making music and battling, algorithms didn't exist yet. You were what you showed, what you put on social media organically was viewed by your following. So I was able to gain a following, then quitting, starting over, changing my name. Now algorithms exist, and I have to fight that and understand how it works in order to become something new. And I was having a really hard time doing that, being a broke artist. And I was about to give up. I was about to give up. I was like, I'm not meant to do this. I'm not meant to, I don't like battle rapping. I'm not being seen and heard without a bag behind me. And I don't know how to get the bag yet. And I'm a white woman rapping. I'm a guest in the home of hip hop. Like, maybe this shit just isn't for me. Maybe I just need to call it quits. And that's when the email came in. Hey, like, literally, I was so depressed. I was crying in my bed, couldn't get out of bed because I was like about to give up on my one true dream. And I got the email from Drop the Mic on TBS saying, hey, Method Man is a huge fan of your battles. We're doing this TV show called Drop the Mic, and he wants to meet you. We think you should come down and work on the show. And I crawled my ass out of bed. I called my mom. I couldn't even put on makeup that day. I called my mom. She's like, you better stop being a bitch and go meet Method Man.
Word.
Shout out to my mom.
Your mom with sound advice and shit. Like, shouts to mom.
Love you, Mom.
With the sound advice.
Love you, Mom. And I did, and I had no idea that he was going to say, hey, Blimey, not only do I love your battles and you're one of my favorite battle rappers to ever do it, but you can actually make good music, and I listen to your music. And he starts singing my song to me, Bass Face. And he's singing the lyrics. He's like, I've showed this to everybody. Not a lot of battlers can make good music, and you can. So let me know if you need anything. I got you. If you need a feature, I got you. If you need me to carry some merch to a show, if you need me to hype man, I got you. And I was like, Method fucking Man of the Wu-Tang Clan is telling my ass this. I'm not allowed to give up. This is where this is where that voice of sabotage in my head dies. And I have to kill it multiple times a year, right? I still have.
It doesn't end. It doesn't become like I conquered that monster and he goes away. It's more like the demon bear from the New Mutants movie, and it just keeps on coming back. It's just like a demon bear that's inside you. It's just like he comes at you, and you gotta be like, stab, demon bear, go away. Fuck you, motherfucker. I'm better than you.
A big part of that is keeping an uplifting crew around you, you know, like making sure that I maintain contact with the people that I know believe in me, like Ness, you know, like Bahamut, like Gab, like our managers, like Dutch, you know, who always celebrate and love me for who I am because he knows my story. And I, you know, that changed my life. I got in the studio the next day. I wrote 3 songs. I sent them to Meth, and he was like, "You already know which one I'm picking." And I was like, "Yeah, I do," because we wrote that shit knowing that you would be on it. Me and my producers, Luku and Cam. Shouts out to Lou and Cam, amazing producers. Lou all day, Cambo Music. We got in and made 3 records the next day. I was like, I gotta strike this iron while the iron is hot. Sent it off to Meth. 3 weeks later, I had his vocals in my inbox, and not only was it a verse, but it was one of the cleanest verses I had heard ever. He didn't phone it in. He didn't half-ass it. Like, he gave me his all. And that taught me that humility is real, and humility exists no matter how big, no matter how famous you are. You still can make time to put on for those that you believe in. And when you do give back, you're building lifelong confidence and self-esteem. Like, we gain self-esteem by doing esteemable acts, and I believe that was a really humble, noble, esteemable act on his part, and that taught me that I am never going to be too big or too good to help somebody else out, ever. So I'm moved forever by his generosity of time and spirit, and
Yeah,
I will
nah, Method's the man.
forever give that back.
Yo, that's like huge still, because I'm sitting there going, how'd you get a Method Man feature? Sounds lit.
Right.
He didn't phone it in. You're correct, because I put your album on, whichever one it was that it's on, and I'm just walking up the street, and then I'm like, is that fucking Method Man? Because I'm not looking at the track list, and I didn't know it was coming. I'm like, yo, that's ill. How do Flacco's friends know Method Man like that? That's fucking cool.
It's the most insane story that I never could have written ever for myself, and that's why I really like to believe that our minds aren't even capable of imagining the greatest version of what our life could be like. And sometimes we just have to have faith that even when shit's so fucking dark, and even when shit is so hard, that if we make it to the other side, the growth that comes from that pain is so beautiful. Like so beautiful.
Yo, your words
And
are, you're like a motivational speaker.
Man, I've been through a lot of shit, and I've had to rationalize. I've had to find things outside of myself. I appreciate that. I've had to find things outside of myself to lean on in the hardest moments to make it through. And I just have this undying faith that, like, I don't know, if we reach for the tools, if we like take time to like sit with ourselves and sit with our shit, then like we can make it through anything. You can't press fast forward on the bullshit. You just have to go through it. There was like this book that I read as a kid. It was a bear hunt or something like that, and it was like, gonna go on a bear hunt, gotta catch a big one, like can't go around it, gotta go through it. And like my whole life I've just been like, can't go around it, gotta go through it. And there was a long time that I tried to go around it. Like I drank so heavy, I used drugs, like I was trying to escape. I moved around constantly, pulled geographics all the time. But like now today, like it's just sitting through it and waiting for the miracle that's on the other side.
Yo, that's like,
I'm blessed. I've been there for that, a lot of that journey. Like I'm like, word. I'm like, facts. Like I know you from, like when the videos that you sent that I didn't actually show Holden, because I was like, I didn't want to show those on live stream, but like the videos that I first was privy to when we got word about you, was like you in like your crib on your bed, I think, playing your guitar and like singing songs instead of just rapping. Like you had some songs where you was rapping, but like you were also flexing like your artistic ability. And like to see the growth from that young girl at home, like really like, raw, no thing about nothing in the industry to now, like
nah, it's
like
really
sis,
like,
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's truly seeing like a beautiful flower grow. It's truly seeing like a beautiful painting come to life. You know what I mean? Like it's that, and like wild like privilege to like be able to like see that journey.
Love you. I appreciate
Love
you.
you.
And I just want to say real quick before we switch off this topic that I am as great. I am only as great as those around me. I am a reflection of my environment. Like that's it. That's it. Like I just got to grow up in one of the greatest musical eras of all time. And not only that, like just make friends, long lasting friends, and like look at the world around me. And I learned that from my environment. So I get to be here and speak on this because I hear other people tell their story, and I I just want to do the same. It's just be here, share the real life experiences, and do it with humility and like real life grace, and just like truly, honestly, just tell what it is, and not sugarcoat it, not puff my chest up about it. So I appreciate you guys giving me the space to do so.
Yeah,
it's our pleasure. Definitely our pleasure. Definitely indeed. Welcome back, Flacco. We missed you. Yeah. And then that's cool. I want to meet Method Man one day. That's my biggest takeaway. Is by knowing Flacko, you might meet Method Man more. Like, there's just a higher likelihood in your life than not meeting him via like whatever. So, just gonna say, it's possible, or will it happen? Why not? He's there somewhere, and he seems like, of all the people in his tier of shit, he seems like the most likely to watch some of my shit and be like, you know what? Fuck it, I fucks with him. I'm just saying, it's not impossible. I don't see why he wouldn't. I'm not saying he would like everything I do, but he's watched enough interviews in his life to probably appreciate it. But yeah, that was sick, man. Her whole attitude is dope. Her whole like energy of just like take life as it comes, learn how to get through it, and then just achieve it. And then, you know, you never know who's paying attention. You just always gotta like run it. Like anybody could be watching and whatnot, and develop that confidence in yourself and whatnot. It's just fun. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about the clip. As far as Gabs goes, we have how the Seattle music scene became gentrified, how to make sure you get paid corrected music, what life is like with legalized weed in New York City, follow the universe to find your way, and that's the options.
How'd you pick?
I'm gonna go with the music getting paid correct shit, because I'm really into that shit. All right, let's get this going. Pause that. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of choosing stuff to watch. I like to find whatever and just watch it on repeat.
But what was that? What was the original question though?
For like we were asking how you, I guess, migrated into actually making music, and then you brought us back to grade 11.
Oh, you said like when I first recorded.
Yeah.
When I first recorded my song.
Well, yeah, like all of
it was
hear
like
it now, Holden?
It had to have been around maybe. Oh man, this was like, I guess shortly after I got back home to Seattle, so maybe like 2009, 2010. Was when I met through a homegirl of mine, this guy named Guyton, and he goes by Toxic. He's from
yeah, I had to
he's from
figure out
Memphis.
how to fix that. I don't think it's happened a lot since.
You know what I'm saying? It was I had like little songs, and not even like real songs. It was more so just I recorded videos of myself rapping over like beats, like Jay-Z beats or whatever on YouTube, and just posted them, or like, and my friends would like them and shit like that. So she was like, "Oh,
that's
I want
a
you
demo.
to introduce this." Basically.
Back then, that's a demo. Back then the demo essentially became like your, I can just rap over this instrumental,
right?
Like, and people were getting on like that. So it's not like, like. It's not like it's something like, oh, nah. It ended up becoming the way that, like, that was the demo of the time, right?
That's fact.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It was the demo of the time. So yeah, my friends, she introduced me to this guy, and we became hella close. And he was like the first person that I like knew as like a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like I had cousins and stuff that produced, but I never knew like an actual person like that I knew for real that like actually rap for real. And so I remember he took me to the studio one time, and, he played the beat. We're sitting there writing our verses, and I go in the booth and I record it. And I just remember when I came, like, this was my first time actually like writing a verse and like actually recording it. And just, I don't remember it being like that good or nothing like that. But I guess just the allure of like just this bitch coming over. She's never rapped before. She wrote this verse. She goes in. And it like comes out, I'm like, was it good? And I guess everybody was just like, had their jaw dropped and was just like, who the fuck are you? Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is not your first time that you ever rapped. I'm like, yeah, nigga, like, I mean, I rap, but like, I don't, like, yeah, this is my first time ever recording. And I just remember just the response being like so awestruck that I'm like,
okay, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I might have something. And then
maybe
it just
I
kept
should
happening.
give
Like,
up these ball dreams and focus on this music that clearly is my path and shit.
Right. And it just kept happening after that. So like every time I would go to a studio and record with something, it was like the same response, just like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, I don't know if they're just gassing me or like, am I really that good? So it's like, okay, let me just keep doing it.
A testament to your upbringing, a testament to your upbringing, right? Because a lot of people tend to find that a lot of people are a little bit gullible and maybe not that like, critical, like, I don't know. Yeah. I think these motherfuckers lying to me. People gassing me up. Y'all gassing me. Bullshit. I'm gonna go somewhere thinking I'm the man. And then you went other places and you got the same response. You start like, oh shit, like I think I might actually be the man. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then people, started reaching out to me, and I'm like, to me, I'm fucking nobody. I mean, not nobody, but just like I'm the girl, from around the hood that like hoops and shit like that. But like people are coming to me and being like, oh, you rap, like we should rap together type shit. And it's like, oh damn, like niggas is hitting me up to rap. You know what I'm saying? So like that's how it that was when. I guess it kind of came about like maybe I should take it seriously, but like I said, I don't think I ever had the thought where I was like, this is what I'm actually going to do,
Or
yeah, but that whole progression of events is amazing. It's so worth talking about still because you sound really cool and all of that.
Big facts. No, yeah, and that's also not atypical. Like dudes tend to be very, men can be very territorial and act wild. Just
like men,
whole ass bitch made motherfuckers.
No,
about
and
like
there was
a woman,
a lot of
about
that.
like a woman that is really nice like that, and play like, but also try to play gatekeepers and keep you away and not want to collab. So the fact that there were still men that like were acknowledging how good you were, you know what I mean? Like it's like a testament, it's right. Testament to like your skill level and how good you actually are.
Right, and I would say I think I got lucky in the sense that I did, obviously I did deal with a lot of like misogyny and just bullshit and like niggas hating, but for the most part, like a lot of niggas were like pretty protective of me, you know what I'm saying? Because I was good and also they knew, know who I am. So I did get a lot of love, but like also. When you're getting into like the actual like, when you're like actually starting to perform and you're starting to like, get in with these talent buyers and actually doing performances and shit, like that was when, shit got tricky. Cause then it was like, there would be times where like the pay was like clearly different, like astronomically different, you know what I'm saying? And like shit like that. But then, they didn't account for me not saying nothing. So like there was many times where it was like, no, I'm finna call this shit out. And then like obviously things were like, it was a bunch of, apologies and like, oh, we didn't like, you didn't think that y'all I guess y'all so used to just like, a new rapper coming in the game and just taking whatever scraps you give. But it's like, no, I know niggas that rap too, and they're telling me what you're giving them. And it's like, we don't have our you know what I'm saying, like the numbers compute, you feel me? So like now you explain to me why I have all, A, B, and C, and he has A, B, and C. Why is he getting paid this and why am I getting paid that? So like, that I think that got me a lot of respect in the sense that like, you're not finna just play me. Like just cause I'm a bitch, like, no, my nigga, like you're not finna do that. So
yeah. Yo, I think that actually speaks volumes to what I was saying at the beginning. And you're, you know what I mean? Like your personality, you got a big personality. You're not afraid of like this is me, and like people like that are necessary in this world,
Yeah, 'cause I was just thinking, how many other people they'll get fucked and then don't say anything, and then it's like you're just in this situation where nobody even knows about it unless somebody like you comes and talks about it.
Right. And then like seeing, my friends being mistreated, like I don't like that. Like don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you can say a lot about me, but like don't say nothing about my niggas. So it's like if I see my niggas getting fucked over, now I have to investigate that. And then now that I'm in this investigation, I'm finding out that I too am getting fucked. So now I gotta speak for myself as well as these other niggas that you fucking over that don't have, that don't want to say nothing because they're like, I don't want to fuck up the relationship. Fuck, the relationship is already fucked because they fucking you. So say something about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of times I've had to, and I don't want to say I've had to speak, but it was very necessary. Like I said, because I'm gonna always defend myself. But it's like in the midst of finding out, you know what I'm saying? Now I got to defend another group of people, and it's like, nah, this shit ain't right. So if I guess I got to take the bullet. So like a lot of shit, especially in like Seattle hip hop and shit, and like the era of like, you know, myself and like More Gang with like Jardy and Nacho and all of us, like there was a lot of situations where we took like a lot of L's, like a lot of bullets, you know what I'm saying? And like speaking out and like turning down shit, you know, just off the strength of like, you're just not finna disrespect us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, well, I guess we missed out on this opportunity, but you know, not to, you know, you're gonna, next time, if there is a next time, you're gonna come correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's serious.
You know, so
that speaks volumes though to your character, right? That's character. That's what you call character. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that, the fact that you can't be quiet about it. Like, nah,
right.
I understand because I'm the same way about a lot of that. Where it's just like, I ain't gonna be quiet. I'm gonna motherfucking kick and scream. Well, that's what we gonna have a confrontation about this. It can be healthy. It doesn't need to be bad, right? But we're gonna come to a head about this, and we're not gonna act like this elephant that we all see in this room is not in this room, because I see this motherfucker with my own eyes. And we not gonna play dumb, you know. But that's character, you know. And that's like again.
But it's also like super interesting, right? Because if you think in short-term gains, people will often take short-term opportunities, jump and get fucked. Let's say in this context, but y'all took immediate losses, a lot of bullets then, but now shit's different. I imagine. I mean, you seem to have lots going on for you. And I don't imagine you get to the point where shit's all hella good now if you didn't build the integrity back then.
Look at you, Holden. Did you just say hella good? Look at him.
Your hella's really big on my hella good, then you're gonna keep on dancing. Do.
Hella.
That's that no doubt shit.
Hella Holden in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole clip is also dope. The whole interview is just like a different vibe, just to like consider like
great vibe.
Like just that people get paid to perform is always like, yo, that's a real thing. Like I know it sounds baffling, but it's not like the most prevalent thing in my city. So just to hear like, wait, people get paid to do that shit? And then people get fucked out of pay, and then people talk about that shit. Yeah, it's like a whole wild business.
It's a big deal. Yeah, I don't perform unless I'm getting paid. I don't pay to perform. It's just how it goes.
I mean, I know a lot of opportunities that are like you don't pay and you don't get paid, and it's just like you just perform.
Yeah, I mean,
but that,
it depends. I always gotta weigh that shit. Depends. I did that in the Bronx. Like there was a Bronx yearly festival underneath the 4 train, Jerome Avenue BID. BID stands for Business Improvement District, or Business Improvement Development, something like that, for the district, something like that. And so they had a pretty big event, and there was a lot of Bronx, and so I just did it because I'm just like, nah, always like my borough. What? Like, yeah, absolutely. And maybe new people hear me. Absolutely, I'll do it. It's a big stage. It's in the papers. So, and you know, they don't pay, but I didn't have to pay as well. So like, I was like, all right, cool, I'll do this. But it has to be things like that where it's like you're drawing in a big crowd on your own, and I want to be a part of it.
Right.
It can't be like, you know, like, oh, come perform for our 10 friends. It's like, I'm just performing for your 10 friends.
Although I'm very okay to go perform at your party's 10 friends. If like you're throwing a party,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now,
If you're throwing a party,
Yeah.
I'm down.
invite. Even if it's 10 friends,
I'll
I'm
go.
down to come.
I'll perform for a fraternity or sorority. Absolutely.
I would love that
But
shit. I'm even okay with
but,
your house party in the crib with like 18. Like, you know what? Just your 8 boys in the basement for now. At this point, I haven't done a lot of social life, so I'm pretty open to a lot like that, more than I would be in like a year.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know what we want to put on next.
I mean, I think that was like a solid, like we just did 2
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Like, I think that was a good recap, of like, I mean, do you wanna go for one more and we go like, you wanna pick somebody? I feel like I picked a bunch of people, right? Like
Yeah.
I dictated the move here. Like I picked a bunch of guys and then like I made sure that that all the ladies get a clip in and I don't know.
Alright.
Do you have a clip? Like
I found one. Just cause, yeah, I'll get it going in a second here. Boom.
what'd you go?
Boom.
What'd you go with? I'm about to find out.
Hold on
Huh?
real quick. Before we do the first question, can we talk about Montreal real quick?
We can always talk about
No?
So first of all, Portuguese chicken. Let's go.
Yes.
Quit playing. All right.
Yes.
Like,
I love it. Great start.
I used to do a lot of drugs. I don't do drugs no more. But I was off. You know what Mandy is?
Yes.
Mandy is Molly's cousin, MDA. You feel me? Cousin of Molly. No MDMA, MDA. It's very groovy. I was off the Mandy and I could still eat because that Peruvian chicken was smacking so hard. Let's talk about. I've never been. The only other city I would say is Barcelona, Spain. But still, like I've never been to a place with so many. The women are aggressive in Montreal. They were catcalling me. I felt objectified. I felt like a damn piece of meat walking down the block. I was like,
Love
damn,
it.
this is how girls feel, bro. This is like I damn near wanted to write a letter to the congressman. I know y'all ain't got congressman, but
Yo,
I
you
was
know
like,
what? I can co-sign that because I just finished going to Montreal.
it's gnarly, right?
in right like November 2019, right before pandemic, right? And I'm on my honeymoon, right? And like chicks still flirted. And it's just like, yo, you're like high key disrespectful. My wife is right there. You're lucky she can't hear you. She's from Brooklyn. She'll fuck you up. Like, you know what I mean?
They're looking for that 3 screw, bro. They don't know.
Yeah, yo,
they're trying
crazy.
to test out the vibes. Like, dude,
I mean, but
like,
you know what? Like, wild props to like Montreal and Canada, period, right? Like, Canada's
Thank you.
known for like its women being like.
Canada's got some of the baddest women
Let's
in the world.
focus
In
more on
Montreal.
Montreal. It's more a Montreal thing. I'm just gonna throw it out there than a Canada.
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Facts, though.
The aggression and like like I know about the history a little bit, but like I had girls slapping me on the ass. I was like, I don't even got ass like that. This is wild,
Chris,
bruh.
is it not facts that the women here are
every
very
single bar is a strip club. I mean, like it might just be like some drunk chick on the pole getting wild, but it's a strip club nonetheless. It's like titties first, questions later. But I had an incredible experience. I just really wanted to, before you get into your first question, just say
No, it's okay. This was great.
Portuguese chicken.
No, but that's what when you said that, I was like, that's real. Like that isn't like some regular. You have to have had that shit to have had that shit. You know, like that felt that.
Yeah.
All right, so I do have that first question though, and it's fucking. I'm excited to hear your answer. So basically, it's a bit of a story. When it lands, you'll be like, whatever you feel about it, you'll answer. It'll be cool. But it all starts with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes, and she's bumping that Black Eyed Peas song, that I got a feeling. Ooh, and she's like vibing, she's dancing, she's doing her thing. And what's really nifty about that is I started thinking about like music and vibes and shit, and how like this song is like exercise music now. It's like fucking doing dishes, chores music now. And I'm like, 10 years ago, I can vividly remember being in the club, jumping up around drunk as fucking circles to that very song, singing it, trying to get girls and whatnot. And it was just a very different vibe, like that song. But that song in time moved along, and I'm like, whoa, music in the way that it relates to time is kind of interesting like that. So it made me realize autumn club hits today, everything people's vibing to, that shit's just gonna be like the chores music of the future. and all that stuff people's exercising to, which I thought was super cool. And that relates to like our musical journeys a bit, because songs are kind of like attached to vibes at different points in our life, and they have different meanings and everything.
Right.
And the thing
I feel like a lot of that's triggered by nostalgia. You know, like if you're comfortable enough to do chores or something, it's a song that resonates with a certain emotional capacity from your past. You know what I mean?
I find that's exactly it. But that thinking of the nostalgia factor, it made me think about our own musical journeys. Oftentimes when we talk about it, especially in interview land, it usually starts around puberty life, when we start to get our attachment to music and form our own identities. But if you think about it in terms of vibes and the soundscapes of our lives, it really starts like way earlier than that. And I know in your case it might be a little different than most people, but it really starts with like when you're really young, 5 years old, this real youthful times. And like it's the stuff that your parents or the environment around you was playing, the technologies around, the availability of the different things. Like for me, my dad was playing these Led Zeppelin tapes, and for some reason that was like the apartment music, but Krista Berg was like the car music, and the 90s techno was the night music, and all these different things kind of created this like soundscape in my universe that laid this foundation that would later become my musical identity, and you wouldn't even realize it till like way later on in life. So I guess that brings me to you. If we can go back to being a little 5-year-old Lush One, something in that early era, if you could walk us a little bit through the soundscape of your existence at that time.
So I love that question because I very often, and I love the way you phrase this, like I get interviewed by a lot of hip hop outlets, you feel me, been promoting my new album. So, and pretty much every single one of them will be like, well, how did you first get into hip hop? And that kind of correlates with this question for me, because I got 2 older brothers, 12 and 14 years older than me. My parents had me, they were like 39, 40, had them in their 20s. They swear to God that I was not an accident. You know what I mean? They swear that I was planned. The jury is still out. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the results yet. I am not sure. Regardless, I'm here. But I had brothers that they were the perfect age difference for me because they were too old to beat me up. You know what I mean? So I didn't we weren't able to fade them like that, but they were close enough in age to put me up on some cool ass shit. And so when I was 4 years old, happened to be right when Ice-T, I'm born in 1981, December of 81. Not to age myself, but I'm born in December of 1981. My brother showed me a record by Ice-T called 6 in the Morning. And I don't know if it was the infectious bass line or the controversial, aggressive content and a bunch of words that I was explicitly told that I wasn't supposed to say. And the combination of that was just intoxicating. And I fell in love with hip hop at that age. I was 4 years old. And from there, the very early ages, it was, evolved from Ice-T to, it was like a very good blend of like classic Seminole, New York hip hop. And since I'm from Los Angeles, California, gangster rap and pimp rap. So everything from, NWA, Eazy-E, Compton's Most Wanted, Too Short to Eric B. and Rakim, the Fat Boys, Beasties, all that kind of shit. You feel me? Like that's what I was raised on from a very small age. But also, classic rock. I had two pet chameleons when I was 5 years old. They were named Jimmy and Bob. So that just shows
like real chameleons.
Chameleons.
Yo, how much do they actually change their colors and shit?
These ones, it was like different shades of green and brown. It wasn't like if you put them on like something blue, they're not going to change blue and shit, but they for sure will like change colors based on and also I think it's temperature or some other shit too. But yeah, Jimmy and Bob, I was super into Jimi Hendrix, super into the Beach Boys. I think that was the LA, you know what I mean? Obviously, Barbara Ann, that was a big joint when I'm saying I was like 2 years old and I was on my brother was a drummer. I was on his trap set playing Barbara Ann or just banging and saying ba ba ba. So that was very early, and then definitely was essentially raised by MTV ever since MTV the box. VH1 was kind of whack.
All right, there we go. So yeah, there we've gone through that clip, which I'm like, you know what, I did like how Lush One hyped up the city. That made me happy. I forgot about that, but
shouts to Montreal.
He's a fun guy, and he's doing his thing. Yeah, he's up on I don't know if you ever pop on the King of the Dot Twitch, but they're doing all kinds of random shit now. Like just anything that you could think of doing. Everybody's got like a show, and Lushawan has his thing there, and I don't know, he's fun. It's fun. He's a cool guy. So, I don't know. I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank y'all for coming through and everything. We'll definitely do another one of these in the future when it comes time to recap again. In the meantime,
we're gonna recap before the end of the year. We're gonna keep on going, and we'll recap in December at some point.
Yeah, and in the meantime, y'all can go make sure to follow End of the Week, /EOWTV on like all the stuff, EOW.com. And yeah, we just appreciate all of you coming through. And on that note, everybody, live long and prosper, everyone. And yeah, thanks for coming through.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, 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 bye. I think I did that wrong. I don't really.
I feel like every time I've rated Mers since that interview, he's been more expressive. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not going to say I had anything to do with it, but he's 100% aware of the clip because he talked to me on Twitter for a quick minute. Nothing wrong with my face, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're fucking funny, bro.